Sometimes you just gotta make them bite. Oh, there he is. Look at that. Great big one.
This spot's gotta have fish. Got him. Good one, boy. Good one.
There we go. There, got him. Nice fish.
That did not take too long.
One of the most interesting aspects of angling is experimenting with different presentation options to trigger fish into biting or striking.
Yep.
I told you they'd live here. Oh, get her, get her, get her, get her.
Whoa.
The options are endless, with new baits and techniques being devised every year, and tried and true lures and baits being adapted to new situations. Angling success often has more to do with not just what you fish with, but how you adapt that presentation to fish location and attitude. Today, on The Edge, we chase deep water walleyes using a unique presentation we affectionately call moping, a do-nothing jigging technique that big walleyes can't resist.
It is a presentation system that you need to familiarize yourself with if you want to catch big numbers of big fish.
Then, we employ a 1-2 punch for catching largemouth and smallmouth bass in gin-clear waters.
Yeah, just a minute ago, Troy showed you the smallmouth that he got drop shotting in 30 feet of water. I threw up on top of his break here in about 5 feet of water with a topwater bait. How does that sound to you?
In the end, it's all about experimentation and the ability to adapt. That's half the fun of angling. The other half is when it all comes together on the end of your line.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, beautiful pike, man. Wow.
Closed captioning provided by Fraybill FXE Stormsuit. For many anglers, catching fish in deep water can be intimidating. How do you find them? What lures do you need? How do you present the bait? For a number of years, the Angling Edge staff and veteran Canadian fishing pros have developed and refined a truly unique way to catch big fish in deep water.
You know, Al and I right now are in one of our favorite places to fish, Northwest Ontario, and we're going to share with you a really interesting technique that we've learned over the last couple of years. And it's something that many walleye anglers have never seen before, and you'd be really, really surprised. And it's not only the baits we're using, but the biggest thing is the technique. And I tell you one thing, Al, this is one of our buddies right here. This is a real one.
I'm the man with the net.
Yeah, I know.
You're really going to enjoy this show. It's something that is incredibly productive, not only for walleyes, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Nice fish.
It's a good starter fish.
Good fish.
There you go.
There you go.
Then
Nice
get
one.
her out of the net,
Okay.
and we'll get her back
Look
in
at
the
that.
water.
Look at that.
Beautiful fish. Great big goldie, but you'll notice what I have it perched in its mouth. A great big Trigger X minnow.
The presentation that we're going to be talking about today was birthed here on the lakes of Northwest Ontario. And we fished a lot of tournaments up here over the years, and this is where we've learned this system. Jimmy won 2 major tournaments back to back. There's been a lot of money made here on walleye tournaments and bass tournaments. And this technique, we really fine-tuned it and got the tip on it from 2 of our friends up here Alex Kessler and Ted Stooner, two excellent anglers. In this part of the world, they're legendary when it comes to walleyes and bass tournaments. I mean, these guys are really, really good.
They fish some Canadian bass tournaments in fall. They fish the same technique. They've had days where they will catch 10-pound walleyes doing this. What you're targeting is the biggest fish in the system and what's the forage that they feed on and the technique that really resembles what their natural food is.
The key to successful moping is understanding the nature of baitfish that suspend in deep water. Suspended baitfish like cisco, smelt, herring, and shad typically feed on tiny plants and animals called plankton. Photosensitive plankton reacts to changing levels of sunlight penetration by moving up and down in the water column. Prevailing wind often concentrates plankton in areas exposed to the wind. Suspended baitfish tend to school and feed at depth levels where the biggest concentrations of plankton occurs, which in turn attracts predators. To find suspended fish, we use our electronics to quickly comb the upwind sides of large underwater points and sunken islands that dump into deep basins. On this particular lake, highlighting the 20 to 25 foot range on our hummingbird helps us focus our efforts on high percentage depths and locations.
And that's a real whippersnapper there. Look at him. Look at him.
Can you lean him my way?
Come here, buddy. Okay. Whoop, there we go. Oh, look at that guy there.
Boy, is that a
beautiful
tubzo?
fish. What?
Tubzo, boy.
Boy, look at that beautiful fish. That's what we're talking. Boy, you wouldn't believe it. A lot of people would think, you know, the baits that we're using, these 5-inch Trigger X minnows, when you look at a lot of soft plastics or soft baits for walleyes, and they're relatively small and docile, but these fish are really feeding on relatively big forage, and you wouldn't believe how many small fish you catch on a bait that big. One of the other real keys is the weight of the bait. A lot of times you want to fish a relatively heavy head. You know, a lot of walleye fishing situations, when you're jig fishing, you try to use a lighted jig as possible. For this situation, you want a relatively heavy bait. The reason being is for control. You want to be able to control where that bait is moving through the water column. We drop it down to the bottom, you reel it up 4 or 5 feet, and then just stabilize the bait. Just hold it there and let it glide. Today we're using 1/4 and 3/8 ounce VMC Mooneye jigs tipped with soft baits. What makes this jig design so good for moping? The eye is positioned on top of the head in perfect position for vertical fishing. The wire bait keeper positions the bait tight to the jig head and prevents it from slipping down the hook. And the wide gap ensures the hook point is always exposed, in perfect position to set the hook point when using bulky soft baits. The baits we're using today is a Trigger X 5-inch minnow, which matches the slim profile of the forage fish they're feeding on. It has a subtle, lifelike tail movement even at rest. In clear water conditions like we're fishing today, natural color patterns usually work best. Speaking of clear water, 8 to 10 pound test Suffix castable fluorocarbon is our line of choice. It's not only invisible to the fish, but transmits light bites, and its low stretch characteristics let you set the hook with authority. One final tip, shift the position of your knot to the back of the hook eye for moping. This helps hold the jig and soft bait combo perfectly horizontal, mimicking the natural appearance of suspended bait fish. The other thing that's really critical is the way you rig these baits, and I'm absolutely sold on this. You know, for all different species of fish with this technique, you have to make sure that the bait is threaded on there correctly. It's got to be perfectly straight. The thing is that I think a lot of times when that bait is moving along at a real slow speed, a lot of the fish are actually tracking the bait and looking at it for a period of time, so it's got to look pretty right. And I've noticed before when you get up, you know, you'll miss a fish and the bait will be kinked or a little bit funky, and you will not get bites. You want that bait running perfectly straight through the water column. That's what's really key. And this thing is so soft, it's just really lifelike, and just a natural drifting movement to the boat and bouncing. It's sitting there, it's just swimming along like this. Right now we're in about 26. I slipped off a little bit, but what I'm gonna do is I dropped it. You can see I have slack line on the bottom. I'll pick up and reel up about 4 or 5 feet off the bottom. That's it. And you just hold it. This is a Rusty L's pet pelican. He's been following us for like 2 days. It's unbelievable.
Oh, Jim.
Good one?
Yeah. Good fish. Good eyeball.
Huh?
Big eyeball. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You'll like her, bub.
Yeah.
You'll like her. Oh, yes, very nice. I seen a big white tail.
Is that right?
Huge white tail. Look at that.
Look at that size of him. Ooh, man, that's a tank.
Yeah.
Wow.
Come here,
buddy.
here.
Look at that guy.
Get her, get her. Oh, get her.
That's a beautiful
Yeah.
fish.
Look at that. Ooh. Even look at this pelican head. You want to bite him? No way, Jose. It's a little too much for you. And what a way to catch fish. I'm telling you, this is so much fun. This is something, not only does this work on all of these lakes up in Northwest Ontario where you have smelt and cisco or tullibee, it'll work in a lot of other bodies of water for a lot of different kinds of fish. Largemouth bass, spotted bass, you name it. It is a presentation system that you need to familiarize yourself with if you want to catch big numbers of big fish.
If you'd like to know more about fishing and vacationing opportunities in among Northwest Ontario's more than 150,000 lakes, rivers, and streams, go to northwestontario.com. Northwest Ontario, there's no place like it.
The Edge is presented by these and other fine sponsors. Every day you hit the water offers a new learning experience. But like most rewards in life, you'll need to earn it to learn it. Experimentation is the most efficient means for determining where fish are located and what they're willing to bite. It systematically covers all the options, top to bottom, and everywhere in between. And when you work as a team to cover the extremes,
Oh, Troy, big brown.
you'll more quickly learn and earn the secrets to success.
Yeah, I missed that one earlier. That was a big one. That was a big one. Just a mediocre. Boy, he made a lot of noise, I'll tell you that. Really annihilated that bait. Look at that. Oof. Troy and I are, oh boy, that hook is, those hooks on that X-Wrap pop are something else, man. They sniff it and that fish is yours.
Pliers?
Okay, I got her. Nice fish. You know, a lot of the lakes that we fish up here in the upper Midwest have lots of smallmouth like this, and they got largemouth in them. Just like many of you might fish lakes that have a lot of largemouth and spotted bass in them, or they might have a lot of spotted bass and some largemouth. When you get in a lake that has a variety of bass in it, one species dominates. You know, there's way more largemouth with smallmouth present, or there's way more smallmouth with largemouth present. You know, but the particular lake that Troy are on right now, this is one of those rare gems. It's about 50-50. That's right, about half the fish are largemouth, half are smallmouth. And I love that because in a lot of cases, when you got that kind of population in a lake like this, which has got a lot of wood, a lot of grass, a lot of deep rock, they're all on the same structures at the same time. You don't have to go to this kind of water and run this distance to fish the smallies. You know, these fish, the largemouth and the smallmouth, are right together. And that makes it double fun.
I guess,
Real small,
yeah. At first,
Real small.
well, relative to a big muskie, yeah, ain't that small.
Oh, it ain't.
Oh. Yeah, that's what I like about the drop shot. It's kind of a anywhere, anytime presentation. Stay in water, clear water like this. And come here. In this true blue is my favorite clear water color. I throw it down there at Mead and Havasu. Come here. Get that out. It catches big spotted bass as well as a fair share of smallmouth, largemouth, just like this.
Good one. Oh, Troy, right after you got that one, I got a mule. This is fascinating. You know, look at the size of that brownie. Woo! That's a brown and a half, man. Look at that baby. Oh, that fish is talking to me. It's early fall on the lakes, on the lake that we're on now, and the water temperature's around 60 degrees. Look at that baby, huh? That's a smallie and a half. You know, just a minute ago, Troy showed you the smallmouth that he got drop shotting. Yeah, you know, and he caught his fish in, oh, a light running 30 feet of water. I threw up on top of his break here in about 5 feet of water with a topwater bait. How does that sound to you? We're catching fish from top to bottom. I'm catching a lot of big fish up on top, and he's drop shotting in the trees and the deep weeds, catching fish as deep as 35, 38 feet of water.
To be successful on these ultra clear waters, you have to understand the nature of the fish you're after. Clear water bass act far different than bass that live in stained or dark water environments. While bass in clear water do relate to cover like weeds, wood, or rock, they'll often wander away from that cover to feed. Clear water fish suspend more and also tend to inhabit far deeper water. The water clarity in the lake we're fishing today is about 25 foot. Generally, clear water also dictates specific presentation strategies. These fish have very good vision and tend to be very spooky.
Coming straight up here. Whoa.
Nice one, man. Woo.
Yeah. And another nice thing I like, if somebody's throwing a top water, like my dad's throwing the top water in front, if I get a nice drop shot bait like this, it's easy to do a shake and bake. He brings up the smallmouth on top, which is a little shake, and I throw it down behind him and I convert those fish, which is the bake.
For really clear water conditions, we usually fall back to a couple specific lure presentations. One of the best is a drop shot rig with a 4 or 5 inch worm like a Trigger X probe. This lake has got a lot of wood cover, so we're Texas rigging these baits with a BMC spin shot hook. Light fluorocarbon line will unquestionably get you more bites. Hair jigging is another option that few anglers fish. Slow swimming a VMC hair jig will catch bass of all colors. Top water is another key presentation tactic for clear water. Poppers, prop baits, and jump baits are all good lure choices for clear water conditions. Top water lures can be cast a long distance from the boat, which helps minimize spooking the fish. Because these fish have a large strike zone, you can also force the fish to move a long distance to strike a lure or bait. The nice thing about top water tactics is that you can cover a lot of water quick. Small to moderate-sized jerkbait like an X-Wrap or Storm Twitch and Stick are also good clear water options. With jerkbaits, we lean on the speed factor to trigger strikes. We're usually fishing these fast and erratic. Last but not least, for heavy cover situations, mid-sized jigs and craw combinations are usually pretty effective.
Oh, got him, Troy. That's a largemouth or a brownie? It looks like a big largie. Yeah, beautiful largemouth, man. Whoa, those largies don't quite pull like those smallmouth do. Whoa, I just lost them. That's all right, it's almost time to go anyway. That was a nice largemouth, biggest largemouth we had today. Yeah, you know, we caught about an equal number of largemouth and smallmouth today. The majority of my fish came popping up on top, and the vast majority of his fish, both smallmouth and largemouth, came behind me, drop shotting in anywhere from 20 to as deep as 35, 38 feet of water. Talk about patterning fish. On clear water lakes, that happens a lot. The key thing that I want to share with you, to remember, you don't fish the same bait, same size, same color. The guy in the front fishes one bait, the guy in the back fishes a different bait, and you're going to catch a whole lot more fish. It'll amaze you.
Big bass sometimes go deep or relate to subtle changes in weed or wood cover that are invisible to the eye. Discover how technological advancements exposed untapped bass hideouts in Bass Electronics, part of our Angling Edge instructional DVD collection, available at anglingedge.com.
The Edge is presented by these and other fine sponsors.
You know, in my business, I've been fortunate enough to meet and know on a personal basis many, many successful business people. Many of them in the industry that I serve, the sport fishing industry, tackle, marine, tourism. And the vast majority of them, in fact, I can't think of any, are giving people. When I was thinking about that this morning, and a guy I fished with yesterday and many of these other people, scripture came to mind to me. It's in 1 Timothy 6, verse 17, 18, and 19. In my Bible, the first thing that says above it, instructions to the rich. Command those who are rich in this present age not to be haughty, nor to trust in uncertain riches, but in a living God, who gives us richly all things to enjoy. Let them do good, that they be rich in good works, ready to give, willing to share, storing up for themselves a good foundation for the time to come, that they may lay hold to an eternal life. Now, like I said, I know personally a lot of these people, and they give beyond your wildest expectations to many, many, many organizations. And the one neat thing about it, nobody tells them or forces them to give. They are not forced to give. They're doing it out of the goodness of their heart. And in many, many cases, very few people realize how much many of these people have given to their local communities, to society as a whole, to the world as a whole, for the people that are truly in need. I just needed to share that with you. They are not forced or made to give. They give with a willing heart. That's a God kind of giving. Hey, from all of us at The Edge, you have a good, safe fishing season. We'll see you on the water.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for watching. And if you really like what you see, we got a whole lot more. So check us out at any one of these online outlets.